Welcome to episode 100 of Instant
Hey.
Expertise Marketing. Today, we are wrapping up our AI mini series and we're celebrating the new year with our 100th episode. In case you're just joining us, we launched this mini series after the feedback that we got from prospects from our recent 3-day webinar on AI productivity for sales and marketing teams. So what we wanted to do in this mini series is show you real life examples of how sales and marketing teams can use AI, off the shelf generative AI models, to double productivity and get work done faster, easier, and oftentimes better. I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of XPROMOS. I became an entrepreneur at 23 by starting a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Sherry Nomadi. Sherry and I not only use generative AI every single day, but we are continuing to urge knowledge workers everywhere to prioritize upskilling on AI like your job depends on it, because it does.
Absolutely. And I'm Sherry Nomadi. Yvette and I approach business from opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet we do always come to the same conclusions on how we will help our clients succeed. As Yvette said, we are ending our AI series on a high note by sharing some real life AI examples with you and celebrating episode 100. Yay!
Now, as is typical with us, Sherry, I don't think we've had a lot of time to reflect and celebrate on this milestone.
Of course not.
But I do know that so much has changed for both of us since we started this podcast in 2018. And we will have to take a beat and reflect on all of that. But of course, that won't be today. That will have to be another day. Because right now, we have some AI examples that we promised to share.
Exactly right, Yvette. And hopefully we can get to commiserating and sharing on that milestone a little bit later. So, no time to celebrate. We owe it to our audience one more set of amazing AI productivity examples for marketing. During the mini series, we demonstrated that one, you can do so much with the existing AI models, no matter what your role is. And two, it's all about shifting your mindset. And three, we firmly believe in sales and marketing teams as leading the charge with the AI transformation. And because that's what we do, we take risks, we try new approaches, and we are the first to innovate.
That's so well said, Sherry, and so very true. I too truly believe that AI transformation will come from the cool kids in the sales and
Yeah.
marketing departments. And that is because we see the value and we're always looking for what's possible and what's going to push our business forward.
Absolutely. And that's why we use it every single day. So, with that, let's get going and show them some stuff.
Awesome. And like I've said before, if you are listening to us, I will do my best to walk through this so that you can follow along. But you can also, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably have a little bit better visual on this, because I'm going to share my screen and show you how I'm going to use ChatGPT to do some whiz-bang things here with AI. So as we've done before, we're going to run through a transformation council thing that we have here, which is based on your role. And it's kind of where we start with all of our training, is to get focused on what is possible with AI in your particular role. So in this case, I'm just going to say, here we're getting started, and it's going to ask me for a LinkedIn profile or just description of your role. And I'm just going to say a Demand Gen director at a B2B SaaS, right? So that's all I'm saying in this case. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us a role plan in 8x8, which is sort of the idea where the competencies are along the top. There are 8 different competencies, and then down the side, you've got 8 different deliverables within each of those competencies. So you've got 64 deliverables here. that AI can help you with. For a demand gen director, it's suggesting you work on things like campaign management, lead gen, marketing analysis, content strategy, email marketing, event marketing, ABM, and team leadership. For those of you that are kind of in that space out there, I imagine you're saying, yeah, that sounds about right. But we're going to do something a little bit different today, in that what we're going to ask it to do, as it's outlined all these different deliverables from audience segmentation maps and campaign planning to vendor evaluations and event marketing, we're actually going to ask it to help us with KPIs today. So why don't we look at, I'm just going to drop this in because at this point it already knows that, hey, I'm a demand gen director, and I'm just going to ask it to help us with creating an 8x8 for our KPIs. And so let me just tell you what it's done is I dropped in a little prompt that we've created internally. And yes, it asks for an 8x8, not too complicated. It does look like it's about a paragraph long. And we're asking it to do some specific things, but all based on that role individually. So in this case, it's talking about our KPIs, focusing on lead gen, lead conversion rate, MQLs, cost per lead, pipeline velocity, CAC, campaign engagement, return on marketing investment, and SQLs. Those are pretty much all what we know is typical in this space. So we're going to ask it for help because that's what we did for each of these things. Like we've said, hey, what kind of problems or KPIs should I have? It's listed this. So I'm going to say, help me optimize landing page. How can I optimize landing page conversion rates, right? And again, I am just basing this on the 4.0 model of ChatGPT. It's deciding right now, it's going to give me two different ways to approach this. I'm going to just have it select one of these approaches so we can get through this. So what it said, and again, this was focused specifically on optimizing landing page conversion rates. Here's how it suggests it can help me. It's talking about improving page load speeds, simplifying and streamlining design, craft a compelling and clear value prop, optimizing your CTAs, doing A/B testing, leveraging social proof, optimizing for mobile, using clear and relevant headlines, using incentives, minimizing your form fields, making sure it's visually appealing, matching the messaging with your traffic source, using urgency or scarcity, and trust signals. So, for those of you that are in this space and have this expertise, you probably know, yeah, that's exactly the types of things that you need to do. But you know what? If you're struggling with that particular KPI, you can actually ask AI to do the heavy lifting and put together an outline of how you can fix that. And it kind of came up with a bunch more things that at least I probably would have done off the top of my head. We probably would have gotten there eventually, but this, rocked it pretty quickly. So now it's looking at different ways that AI can help us with this. It's talking about having it help generate better headlines, value props, and CTAs. It's talking about helping create better images. It says if it has screenshots of competing landing pages, it can evaluate those and help you refine your own strategy. And you can do that either through image to text or actually usually by giving it a landing page link as well. You can also have it convert some of your descriptions for A/B testing directly into code. It can also generate a conversion optimization checklist. So actually, I'm going to ask it to do that. is create a conversion checklist. And again, keep in mind that what I started with this was just something that delivered a role plan for our demand gen person. So all the AI knows in this case is really that you're working in demand gen. It created a role plan, and then it looked at KPIs, and now I've gotten specific about one of these KPIs. And so it's suggesting in landing page conversion, it created a checklist for me that is page load speed. It's got 4 things we can do to work on that: compress images, to reduce the file size, minimize the use of heavy JavaScript, leverage browser caching, test your page speed with, page speed insights from Google or GT metrics. It's got some ideas on value prop, the call to action, etc. The point is, right now, I have a checklist of what looks like about 40 things probably that I could do to optimize that landing page, that one thing. Now, I can do those myself, or I can hand this off to someone else to kind of work through these things. And if I'm not sure how to do any of them, such as, urgency and scarcity, it's suggesting using a countdown timer. I don't have one of those. I could probably get it to build one for me because it does, it can do coding like that. And, same thing with exit intent and retargeting, making sure you implement a pixel. It can help with those things as well. So the point is, this is one problem that you might have on your list of things to tackle, right? Optimizing your landing page. And it just gave me a list of 40 ways that you can do that. And if I asked it, it's going to give me more specific instructions on any one of those things. We've talked a little bit about this before. One of the secret ways that I love to use ChatGPT or any generative AI is to fix one of those one-time problems, right? Like you have that annoying little problem on your website, or you can't get your clock fixed in your car after the time change or whatever it is. And you can ask it real quick, and it will give you a set of instructions that is remarkably good. And that
quick.
alone is quick, right? That alone is
Right.
such a time
Right.
and frustration saver that it's actually one of my favorite things to do. So, I know that in this case, this was a very brief look in this series on what was possible. And I don't know, Sherry, what do you think about the KPI thing? Because
I don't think it was just brief. I think it was, for those who are tuning into something like this, they probably had that like, wow feeling when they looked at it, because not only did it go deep on that one topic, but it's so quick and it's so complete. And when you guys think about drafting a plan for something like that, it would take you at least a day or two, depending on how many interruptions you had, to draft that one plan for that one thing, to come up with that. I think it was about 40 to do action items there. And like Yvette said, whether you do them or you pass them on to someone else and manage that, then you move on to the next big thing. To me, that's wow. That wasn't just, something super brief. This is showing you how fast and how comprehensive chat is in knowing your role and what you need to do to be successful.
that's really a great point, Sherry. And when people that are sometimes less embracing of AI may question, how thorough its responses are, how good it is at this or that, when in reality, what we see is that if you know your job, this is just kind of doing the heavy lifting, right? It's helping you kind of get past some of those things and getting this done a lot faster. And what a lot of people miss, even when we're talking about strategy, is that they'll stop right after kind of doing the big idea or whatever it is. And the reality is, you can continue that conversation with AI. You continue
Mm-hmm.
that conversation and you can get to that checklist, like I just showed you, every single time.
Yep.
Like, another big aha we have in the sort of like learning new things or, getting summaries of concepts out there is it's one thing to get a summary of a book or a strategy or a framework or whatever it is, but it's a whole nother thing to take it that next step and say, great, what am I going to do with this? Well, here's
Right.
my situation. How does it apply to me? Okay, that's great. Can you go ahead and give me what an SOP would look like for that? Can you go ahead and tell me if I want to get this done in the next quarter, what do I need to get done every week? And can you give me a checklist of that? And can you give me what I need to drop on my calendar to get it done? That's how fast and efficient this is. It does the really big things and it does the smaller things as well, like sort of that strategy, but the tactical part as well, which is pretty amazing. And really what we've shown today and also in this whole series, it's really just a small glimpse of what's possible with AI today. And as, people are starting to say, the models, this is the dumbest the models are going to be. They're only going to get smarter and they're only going to get better. And really, the way you use your AI is going to be entirely different than how we use it. Even Sherry and I, as we've said before, we use it entirely differently. And that's great. The point is that the models can be your personal assistant and they can enable you to unleash your own superpowers, enable you to get your work done in half the time.
At
And
least half, maybe more.
and that is really what, especially now that we're in a 2025, if this isn't at the top of your list of things to accomplish this year, then you're really missing out because this is,
You're in trouble.
yeah, that's very true. Because it's coming, it's here, and you, everyone is going to need this skill, and the sooner that you get upskilled on it, the better. We've got some really amazing training opportunities for you. We'll drop some of that in our show notes. We've got some new things that are coming right now as we launch into 2025. That whether you want the fully robust learning and understand how it works so you can do everything yourself, or if you prefer a little bit more of a plug and play, we've got some solutions for you on that. But you've got to get in the game, and we really implore you to do that, whether it's with us or someone else.
Absolutely. And I think that's it. We're going to wrap up this 8-part mini series and the 100th episode. Thanks so much for listening. And we hope you join us for the next 100.